For the first of our hour-long Friday night one shows.
But how about drama 2011 style? It's time, gentlemen, please, to bring on the nation's favourite landlord, Alfie Moon.
It's Shane Richie!
Hey, hi, boys. How are you, love?
How are you, Shane?
I'm very well, thanks, gorgeous.
How are you?
Yes, on for a whole hour.
Yeah? What do you think about that?
That's an hour. It starts right now.
A whole hour ahead of
This
your big
is-
extravaganza on BBC One with Eastenders later.
Fantastic.
You've come hot from the set.
Literally, mate, I've literally come straight over from Elstree to be with you as we celebrate an hour.
And how was Albert Square today?
Today was lovely, because we're 6 to 8 weeks ahead. So at the moment, it's the middle of the summer on Albert Square.
Is it? Is that why you got a tan?
Yeah. It's really strange, actually, you know, doing stuff, because we are so far ahead. So we've had Easter a long time.
How was Easter?
Well, it's lovely, and you're going to love it.
It's going to be a great Easter.
You're going to have a
everyone.
great Easter, folks. Fantastic weather.
Now, a lot of the cast are away. A lot of the star members of the cast are away. So they've got you recording 2 stories at once. How's that working? How's that messing with your head?
Sometimes we do 3.
No.
Sometimes we have 3 units going. At the moment, what's the start? You know, because you know who's just joined the show? Icon, David Essex.
No. They like that?
And I've literally just started filming with him this week, and it's strange having him on the show and watching the reaction from makeup artists, especially the girls. There's about 4 women around him doing the makeup, but he's coming in. He comes in as my uncle Eddie Moon. And he's I mean, we understand. We're of a generation, we remember David Essex.
Of course we do.
From that, but there's a whole generation that don't. And I think they're going to be wonderfully and pleasantly surprised what a fantastic actor he is.
He is super cool as well.
And he is very cool. And he's a very sexy man.
He was. I've seen a few pictures. He's quite remarkable.
Did you remember him as a pop star, though?
No, but he came to do panto in
Yes,
Cardiff.
he
That's not the
did.
same.
So I do remember.
Could you sing one of his songs? Do you know one of his
All
songs?
right.
Do you know
Can't name one off the top of my head.
We're gonna make you a star.
Christmas Tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, Winter's Tale.
Oh, Winter's Tale.
Oh.
Yeah,
But
no
the director
points.
just said Christmas Tale. I
No
believed him.
points. Thank you very much.
There we are.
Shane's with us all evening now. Exclusive.
Have you ever run... Well, he's all right. He's all right. He's not very athletic.
He's still got it.
Have you ever run the marathon yourself?
Yeah, I've
you haven't.
I've done 11 marathons.
No, you have not.
No, he's right, I haven't.
Would you?
You know, standing and watching these wonderful people that I know raise a lot of money for charity, and at this point, you know, I really want to say yes. But, you know... Listen, I've got a fictitious pub to run, I ain't got time. But when I watch him on the finish line, you know, we're all going to be watching BBC on Sunday about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or like that. Yeah, I've had a great time. It's been really good. I struggle with that.
Was that fictitious dribble?
That was dribble, yeah. That's normally what you see just before the omnibus on Sunday, EastEnders. Like, guys, I've had a lovely, raised lots of money.
Now, Shane, you know, there's lots of Shane Richies. There's singing Shane Richie, there's hosting Shane Richie, there's stand-up Shane Richie, there's game show Shane Richie. You're back to acting Shane Richie. Does this mean we've lost the other 4 Shane Richies?
Yeah. No, I was always an actor. I started as an actor and was out of work for a long time as an actor. Back in the late 80s, I kind of got sidetracked. I really enjoyed stand-up, and I'm going to go back to stand-up later in the year. But kind of my personality kind of took over. And in the late 80s, 90s, that was what the genre was, the whole game show. It was myself. I mean, you were doing it, Rossi.
Having a go.
Yeah, I know, it was like that, and I kind of got roped into that.
School.
Yeah.
I was watching you on telly.
You were reading
then.
up on David Essex, weren't you?
For a while then, I'd become Mr. Saturday Night, and enjoyed it for a while, but I didn't think I was that good at it. I don't think.
He was brilliant at it.
Yeah.
Likeable man. Hang on a minute. There's something we didn't know about you, though, because we thought Shane was a low-profile kind of guy, didn't
Yeah, under the radar.
he? Down to earth, you know?
So imagine I was surprised when he turned up to the one-show car park in this.
Look at this. It's a Shane
Lovely.
Okay.
Isn't that mad?
Now, it's-
I saw that, scared the life out of me.
Well, listen, we haven't made... That's not our props department that's made that up. That's a fan of yours. She's had her car... It's not a factory extra that you can just order. Mandy Crowther's here with us. Mandy, good evening. Welcome to the programme. long have you loved this guy, and why did you first fall in love with him?
I just think he's awesome.
Thank you, sweetheart.
But you don't just have a car, do you? You have a tattoo.
What? Tattoo?
Yes.
No.
Here it comes.
Can we
Let's
see it?
It's not finished yet, but I have, yeah.
Wow.
Have you actually seen that?
On it,
Who does that look like?
Hold on.
It looks like Roy.
Barraclough.
No, it was Barraclough.
Roy Walker.
Yeah, Roy Walker. Yeah.
It's good, but it's not right.
That's right. Which is true.
Is that me? Does that look like me?
It will be one day.
It will be with you. And Mandy.
Where is it on your back?
But yeah.
Yeah.
And Mandy is a tattoo
you're going
artist.
to be waking up most
so
morning with me on your back.
Let's be
Get on the tattoo. Stop right now.
All right. Okay.
Stop right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Enough of that. Now then.
Yes.
Usually every Friday, our food connoisseur Jay Rayner likes to sink his teeth into a nice meaty food topic.
So what's up with the big guy tonight, Jay? You see, Alex, the thing is, when it comes to flavour, death is depth.
All I can say...
Listen, all I can say is I would prefer spaghetti bolognese or a chili con carne with corns.
Would you really?
I think it's nicer.
All right, get your mouth around that then. I mean, listen, if I'm going to be made to eat this stuff... Shane?
Yes, sir?
I've been sent out, forced to eat meat substitutes. Right. You know, there was some of this that I didn't actively hate.
That's really nice.
Do you like that? You sure you don't want to compare it to the real thing?
This is a vegetarian black pudding, am I right?
It is a vegetarian black
What
pudding.
does that mean, a vegetarian black pudding?
Well, it's a vegetarian black pudding.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't, because black pudding is made from the blood of an animal. But I suppose if you quite... Yeah. Look, I'm trying to be nice here.
I know
You sent me out there to eat the stuff, and
Sorry.
I see its point. But there is a serious issue here, which is that the amount of meat we consume, and I say this as somebody who doesn't really like his dinner unless it's ever had a pulse, the amount of meat we consume is probably unsustainable for the planet. There was news this week of what's called the European Nitrogen Assessment, which says that it's costing each of us £650 a year in damage to the environment, the amount of nitrogen that's produced from agriculture and particularly from livestock. The National Farmers Union have a different view and say the amount that's being used is actually dropping. But the idea of meat-free Mondays, which you've heard Paul McCartney talking about, is probably a good way to go. We do need to cut down on the amount of meat, and I say that as someone who really doesn't want
But
to.
you also wrote the frog chorus.
Big fan of the show, actually.
I like it.
Yeah, not anymore. There have been successful food substitutes before. Though.
Oh yeah, we've had food substitutes all the way through history. Listen, try it. Would you like a cupcake?
Okay.
Would you?
Is this... When you... your cupcake...
Don't be suspicious
Hold on a
of
second.
food.
There's no meat in it.
No, but there's no meat in a cupcake anyway, so what's the...
Well, that's the question.
see.
You try it, and once you've started eating it, then I'll tell you.
So what... But OK, what's normally in a cupcake? It's just icing...
Sugar, flour.
Butter.
What do we have to do to this man to get
Have a
him to
taste.
eat? I just need to see it go.
OK. Watch it.
Oh, look, I'll help. All right, the point about these is that they're made with sugar substitutes.
All right.
And there have been...
That is awful.
Yeah, it is.
How do they make sugar substitutes sweet without the sugar?
Look,
So what's
there
this?
are chemicals which, like aspartame and saccharin, which are many, many times sweeter than natural sugar and have very few calories in them.
It's very buttery. Very buttery.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah, but
I'm not
at the-
interested in anything that doesn't have fat or meat in it.
Oh, you've changed.
Well, have
No,
one of
no.
those
Chris,
then.
What?
have a cupcake. Just before you start running the marathons, you'll need one of them.
But Jay,
talk about the marathon.
as a toned and elite athlete yourself,
Yeah.
what tips have you got?
By the way,
Did you just
No,
laugh?
I'm going to... I don't know how you run with that hair.
Jay,
How you run with that hair.
he's been carving up for years.
Has he really?
Yeah.
It's no race.
That's not entirely
What
fair. I
advice
do go
have you
to
got?
Oh, that-
All right, the advice, and really, you need advice from me, obviously, because I've been there. It's all about, just before the race, it's all about carbs. It's all about complex carbohydrates, about eating a lot of pasta and eating a lot of rice. However, it's also about something else, which is when you're running, you're going to need a bit of a sugar burst. And the recommended thing from the British Dietetic Association,
tell us.
it is...
It's a bum bag.
It's a bum bag containing jelly babies. Have one of
Yay!
those.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, well, they're a very good source of instant sugar, and while you're running it, look, they've all got jelly babies. Here, catch.
Yeah.
Oh, marvellous.
Very good.
Giles, you want one?
This is proper.
Well, caught, Giles.
I just like throwing food. It's a very, very simple way to... I mean, the fact they look like babies and you can bite their heads off is neither here nor there.
Okay.
It's just a very good way of dropping sugar into your bloodstream.
Now, your one-show bum bags are 1 of 100 each, OK? Limited run,
Limited edition.
no eBay action, OK?
No. Now then, from bum bags on the run to the band on the run.
Seamless, as always, here. Cary Grant has the story of how Paul McCartney's post-Beatles project...
Get the board.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wings.
Yeah.
Great band.
Took off. Brilliant.
Sorry, Giles.
With less of a bang than a whimper, the Beatles imploded on the 10th of April 1970, with a simple press release effectively announcing Paul McCartney was leaving the band. But it wasn't the end of their careers. They all became successful solo artists.
But Paul pulled the biggest surprise. Rejecting the glitz, glamour and luxuries that go along with being a global superstar, he swapped the private jet for a van.
And joining him in the van was his new band, which he called Wings. Henry McCulloch was Wings' guitar player. For him, it was a dream job.
I knew it was going to be a great gig. I think I know guitar players would have chopped a finger off to get that gig, you know.
The band, including Paul's wife Linda on keyboards, rehearsed for months, culminating in pre-tour sessions in London.
What a great band. I mean, he's not going to have a bunch of fools around him, Paul McCartney, I can tell you. You had to know your onions, as the man says.
Now, you were all established musicians, but Linda wasn't. Was that difficult for you?
It was said very quickly, she's the woman I love, she's in the band, and that's it, you know. She learned her part well enough to go and play it. She did a great job, she really did.
The band's set was a Beatles-free zone and consisted of Wings songs plus rock and roll classics. But who to play to? McCartney decided to go back to basics. The band, his family and even his dogs climbed into a van and toured the nation's universities to ask if they could play secret, unpublicised gigs. First stop, the East Midlands.
The van pulled up here at Nottingham University on the evening of the 8th of February 1972.
And so began the most surreal 24 hours in the life of the Student Union's social secretary.
I was approached by a guy who said, oh, well, I'm with Paul McCartney's new band, Wings, and we're doing an impromptu tour, and we're looking for places to do gigs. Are you interested? I thought, well, you know, this is too good a chance to miss if it's true. So I said, yeah, of course we're interested.
What happens next?
He said, OK, well, you need to come outside and talk to the boss about it.
So you've come out of the entrance here. Yeah. And then where's the van?
Well, the van was right there. Who should be sitting in the driving seat? Paul McCartney.
There he was. What were you thinking at that point?
Thank goodness I made the decision to come out and talk to him. Otherwise,
it wasn't a joke.
I would have missed a fantastic opportunity.
Because of them not wanting any press, there's no recordings of that gig. Did you come away with anything?
Well, I brought my McCartney album with me.
Have a look. Oh, I love the fact that he signs for her too. He was really including her, wasn't he, at this point? It's just beautiful.
Elaine and the band agreed that they'd play the following lunchtime in the Portland Ballroom on the campus.
The Wings gig was the hottest ticket in town. Now, chemistry student Dudley George managed to bag himself one, and also Jean Troy, who was studying sociology and was a real Beatles fan. Jean, what are your memories of that lunchtime?
Well, my main memory is this is absolutely amazing seeing Paul McCartney, because most girls of my age did like the Beatles, and a lot of us really adored Paul McCartney, so this was amazing.
It was a family do. It was very much a family do. I mean, they had the kids here, so it was more like a kind of family day out.
Did you feel that you were watching a piece of history in the making?
The biggest group in the world had been the Beatles for all our conscious time, so it was a historic event. It had to be.
What happened here on this spot is pure pop history, and it could be argued that Paul's career with Wings really began on this stage. The lunchtime gig was a big success, and for the next 2 weeks they toured 10 university towns across Britain.
The university tour was like a bunch of kids being let loose on a trolley or something, you know. You can go anywhere you want, but you have to stop here. Sing a song and on your way. Where are we going? I don't know.
Super cool. Shane, you are, we've been told, one of the rare breed that prefer Wings to the Beatles.
Yeah, I think it's more of an age thing. I mean, my mum was a big fan, still is, and my in-laws big fans of the Beatles. I kind of miss them, and it's only in the last 10 years I've kind of found the Beatles. But when I was, in 74, 73, I was 10, I was buying albums or records, it was David Bowie, Wings, and I remember the album Band on the Run when it came out, and it was that thing at school, like, who could you name on the front? So, yeah,
Let's play that game right now.
OK, ready?
Go on.
Kenny Lynch.
Michael Parkinson.
Christopher Lee.
James Coburn.
Oh, it's over.
Chris wins.
Forget about Lenny Bennett. Yeah.
Now then, we do have a follow-up story to that film because a guy who was a rookie reporter at the time scooped the interview the whole world was after that very night back in Leeds.
Yeah, he's already been hugged by Shane there live on TV. Paul McCartney only gave one post-Beatles interview 2 years after he actually left the Beatles. And it's to Steve Haig, who's sat with us now on the sofa. What was the hug like, first of all?
Well, yes, it'll go down as a moment.
So you mentioned the Beatles and peace and love.
Have I blushed? I think I probably have.
So how did you get the scoop of a lifetime?
There it is. There it is. That's the tape, the old reel-to-reel tape, which I found in a cardboard box in my garage a couple of days ago. I thought I'd lost it. But how did I get it? Well, it was in the tradition of all good exclusives. You know, you get it with a tip-off, don't you? Phone rang in the newsroom at Radio Leeds. I was the last reporter standing. All my reporter colleagues were over the road in the pub having a pint, as they do after a hard day's work. And I thought, shall I pick the phone up? And I thought, well, if I pick it up, I might be here for the next, 3 or 4 hours. But I did pick it up, and I'm glad I did, because it was a waiter at a Leeds hotel saying, you might like to know, Radio Leeds, that actually I'm just serving a meal to Paul McCartney and Linda. And I thought, can't be. This guy's been, he's been off the scene for 2 years. He doesn't exist anymore, but he did. And he was in the Leeds hotel. I popped in, there he was, and he gave me the interview, which has turned out to be the interview of my career, of my life.
And you were only 22 when you did the interview.
I was a young cub reporter, yeah.
Well, we can hear a little extract from that interview right now. Here we go.
As far as I'm concerned, see, I'm just some fella who used to be in a group called the Beatles. The Beatles split up, so quite naturally, that job's over. So quite naturally, you don't hang around with all those people, still you look for something else. And that's all I'm doing. And it's a group called Wings, and we're having a great time doing the kind of things the Beatles could have never done.
What was he like, a reclusive Paul McCartney then?
Well, bearing in mind that he hadn't given any broadcast interviews for about 2 years, and I felt, actually, this guy needed a leg up. I know it's worth a lot of money, but...
Oh, you did him a favour.
I was doing it. He'd been off the scene, hadn't he? And he obviously saw the potential in me, and we did this interview, we sent it down the line to London, and it went everywhere, not just in the UK, but right around the world. And Paul McCartney, it just said, Paul McCartney's back in a big way, the first of the Beatles to go back on the road, and here it was. And it happened in this Leeds hotel.
Well done, Steve. Perfect. Good story.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now then, next up this evening, we return into a story almost as extraordinary as one of Shane's Eastenders plot lines.
Yeah, the tale of Shirley and Brian Burney. You may remember these guys who were giving away their millions to help others.
Yeah. So
I couldn't get away with not asking my wife about anything, let alone giving away 18 million pounds.
Well, that's why I haven't got one, see.
What?
A wife.
Perfect.
Okay, so in about half an hour's time, the nation will witness the culmination of a controversial storyline that's been running for months. Shane Richie's character, Alfie, and his wife, Kat, think their child died, but he's actually still alive. So what was your reaction when you first read the script for that?
Oh, incredible. I mean, as an actor, these are the sort of scripts and the storylines you want. And myself and Jessie, we've only been back 6-7 months, and when we got approached about coming back, we sat down with Brian Kirkwood, our exec producer, and he said, OK, this is what's going to happen with your characters. We knew Kat and Alfie were coming back, and Kat was going to be pregnant, and sadly was going to lose the child. But then we find out that wasn't the case. And when we were giving this, our first reaction, or certainly mine, was, oh, OK, we really need to think about this, because being a father, and also Jessie being a mother, you want to play the honesty of something like that. There's certain storylines that you can trivialise with it, whatever soap you're doing, but this, we need to do our homework. And I think, I believe myself and Jessie, we both did our homework, and I hope we gave it some depth and certainly as much honesty as we can within the parameters of soap.
All right, well, for fans that can't wait, here's a taster of tonight's episode.
What did I do to deserve you?
Tonight it must be something really, really incredible.
I love you.
Yeah, well, I love you too, Mom. We'll get through this, all right? Wherever it takes, yeah?
Of course we will.
Right. Together, all right? Excuse me. Yes, ma'am.
Hang on.
Wait a minute.
She didn't mean that then. She didn't mean it.
She didn't mean it.
She's telling lies, eh?
Yeah, there's the undercurrent
But
story.
is Ronnie going to give the baby back?
Yes, tonight it happens. Yeah.
Are you supposed to say that?
Oh, because we were telling you were going to say, sorry, can't tell you that.
Well, I think we all know it comes to a conclusion. But it's what happens afterwards. I mean, though the story, it doesn't end tonight, far from it. And it's the repercussions, what happens right across the square with other characters. And it's a wonderful episode, which I've seen, which is not just tonight, of course, but Monday night is an incredible episode where Kat and Alfie are finally reunited with the baby.
Now, what's ironic about this is you're expecting your fifth child yourself.
I wouldn't mind, but I can't stand kids.
Next week. Is it true that you sort of felt like you had to sort of keep that pregnancy sort of almost secret because of what was going on the tape?
Yeah, most definitely. But it was more really my wife, Christy. It was her decision, really. I mean, when we found out we was having a baby, of course it was last year, just as I started back in Eastenders, and it was really her wishes. When we knew we were doing this storyline, because, you know, she does the school run, she's got lots of friends, and she didn't really want to... I mean, she's constantly being asked, you know, about Eastenders and the storyline. And I think it was more her wish that she didn't really want to be going doing the school run and being asked about, you know, the storyline.
It's next Wednesday.
Oh, yes.
Next Wednesday!
Next week.
That'll be 5 little Richies.
We are 5!
Now, please tell us if it's a boy, you're going to call him Lionel.
Ah, no. No, we know what it is.
It's a little girl, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever. All right, OK.
Number 5. Number
Too late for
5.
that now we're getting into the spirit of the famous Virgin London Marathon this evening.
Film, Giles.
So what else then was
Well,
the
I can tell you
nation
exactly
watching?
what was on television.
53 years ago.
53 years ago tonight, I have the Radio Times for that very evening.
Look at it.
And here it is.
EastEnders.
No EastEnders. Now We Are Married. That's the documentary we've just been talking about. Before that, at 8 o'clock, your time, something called The Common Room.
Oh.
It was a series of dramas once a fortnight. They thought that was enough excitement. Every 2 weeks about life in the common room of a secondary modern school. Right. But what's intrigued me is at 9 o'clock, The Diary of Samuel Pepys with Peter Sallis. So it's a drama about the great diarist. Peter Sallis, now 90, of course, the star of Last of the Summer Wine, the voice of Wallace and Wallace and Gromit. Then a young actor, and here he is, playing the part of Samuel Pepys all those years ago.
Incredible.
And I remember some of this. I was there. And I remember this week vividly, because in the news that week, this week, today, the launch of Bob a Job Week. I was a Boy Scout and a Cub, and I went doing Bob a Jobbing. And this was something that Cubs...
Helping an old lady across the road.
That's it, that's me. And what happened was that a bob was a shilling. 5
pence.
And you went out and you did good works, you cleaned people's shoes, you polished the car, you did good works, and you collected money for charity. And here are some boys that were filmed in Southgate that very week. Look, good, nice boys doing good work.
God love those privets.
What's interesting, though, you know, is the Scouts and the Cubs are as successful as they ever were. The numbers are growing every year, including the Girl Guides are growing. But this year, announced today, more girls join the Boy Scouts this year than ever before. More girls now become Scouts this year than boys became Scouts.
He's good, isn't he?
On it goes.
Thank you so much, Giles. And if you want to watch the whole of Now We Are Married, you can go to our website.
Yes, you can. Yes. Now then, we've got loads of people here raising money for charity.
Wonderful.
But you and the rest of the cast of EastEnders and Holby City, am I right, are raising money for a fantastic charity yourself.
Yeah, a couple of miles from where we film, EastEnders in Elstree, is a plot of land which has become available, which has now been bought. And it's a charity which has just started called Noah's Ark. And we're going to start, hopefully this year, we're going to be doing certain things to raise money to build a children's hospice. But what's interesting, just before we come on out, we spoke to the producer, and we're going to bring a film crew on behalf of the One Show, and we're going to take you to Eastenders and Holby, and we're going to do a piece to film and take it to the plot of land and talk about it and give more information.
We love a good story. No story bigger than the royal wedding, which you've
We've done it, mate, we've done it.
EastEnders has already done the royal wedding.
Yeah.
What was Kate's
How was
dress
it?
like?
Come on.
Kate's dress
Did they
is
stay
beautiful.
together?
Yeah, no, we filmed it, and the day of the wedding, obviously the night of the show, Alfie's thrown a party in the Queen Vic, but something happened.
Of course it does.
Something happened.
Would have to.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Shane, what for you is the perfect image of spring?
Oh, the sun coming up. It just in the morning when it's just brighter and the brighter nights. Yeah. And...
All right, for me, I've got to say it's 3 cream eggs for 2 to the local service station. Yeah.
For me, it's probably the end of opaque tights.
We thought it might be. All right, tonight our One Show photographer Jamie Crawford puts his camera to the test to see if he can capture those opaque tights.
Now, our marathon runners are limbering up, as you can see, for our One Show warm-up dash. Now, before we send them off into the night, there's just time to meet a few more. Here is Lloyd Scott, believe it or not, who is doing the marathon dressed as the snail from the Magic Roundabout. How long will that take you?
I hope to go around in about a mile a day, so it's going to be a long, slow, painful process.
But who are you raising money for?
Raising money for Action for Kids and accompanied by all the other characters from the Magic Roundabout, so watch out on actionforkids.org.
Brilliant. Good luck to you.
We have the Huddersfield University Marathon Band! This is so good. You got a tough job. Is that a real bass drum?
It is a real one, just a smaller one.
It's a small. Are you sure it's a real one?
Yes, I am positive.
Is that a real huge horn?
It's a tuba. I've got a really big horn. Really
okay, what's your name?
Felicity.
Good luck with everything. All right, let's go to Shane. Shane, good luck with the baby next week.
Thank you, very good luck to Charlie Brooks. Plays Janina's running in the marathon.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, okay. You ready for this?
Well, hang on a sec. That's it for tonight. Coming up next Friday, Good Friday, Russell Brand's going to be on the programme.
Yeah, a.k.a. Mr. Katy Perry, along with Hardman Ray Winston and Python Terry Jones. But stay tuned for EastEnders next.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go on, Shane. Off you go. This is the One Show.